Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I'm Ryan Bolin. Thank you all for joining me. So, female comedian Wanda Sykes made a statement that laws banning men from entering to women's restrooms is stupid and hateful. Now, right off the back, you probably wondering, okay, what was her argument based on? So I'm going to read you her argument for this because someone like this it's no surprise that they would say this. When I hear people on what I would consider to be the radical left saying crazy things like this, I am not surprised. I am not surprised, at least. So let's just hear what her argument is, okay? Let's hear what her argument is. So let's go right and get right into this. And the article says comedian Wanda Sykes has blasted transgender bathroom laws that ban biological men from women's restrooms, saying such laws are, quote, stupid and hateful. In an interview with Variety, Wanda Sykes explained why she addressed the transgender bathroom debate in her new Netflix stand-up special, I'm an Entertainer. Oh, that's a real great title, I'm an Entertainer. That really should pull the people in, right? I'm not trans, but they have my support 100%, Sykes said. And let me say up front, look, I've never listened to any of her comedy specials or stand-up comedy or anything. I never listened to any of her comedy specials, so I'm not here criticizing her comedy specials or criticizing her stand-up comedy because I've never listened to any of it, okay? But what I'm criticizing is the statement that I'm reading here and from Breitbart News and what she said about why she thinks this is the banning of men in women's restrooms, biological men in women's restrooms is stupid and hateful. That's what I'm criticizing. But I'll say this before I go further. It seems to me that people that are on the radical left or so-called comedians on the radical left seem to have lost all kind or sense of what comedy is all about. Comedy, from what I understand, comedy to be always thinks outside the box. It always challenges what we would consider to be norms. It always challenges accepted tastes. Come on, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy. What was the other comedian? He passed away. Passed away. What was his name? Robin Williams. How can I forget Robin Williams? All these legendary comedians always tended to be what people would consider crossing the line, okay, of acceptable taste. But that was one of the things that made them funny. So what she's saying, to me, Wanda Sykes would fall into that category if I would ever listen to her comedy acts. I'm pretty sure she falls into that category. I don't want to offend nobody, so I don't want to say anything. Come on, man. It ceases to be funny. It ceases to be funny at that point. But anyway, let's go on. Let's hear the rest of our argument. I wanted to find somewhere where I could shine some light on what they're going through to show just how stupid and hateful really it is. I was in a woman's bathroom one time, and I was like, who would want to come in here anyway? It was like, I kind of want to go check out the men's room. Sometimes it's even cleaner. So what she's basically saying is that her justification is that women's restrooms are nasty and they're nasty. Who wants to come in there anyway? In other words, if a biological man who wants to be a woman or believes he's a woman in his own mind wants to come in the women's restroom, why would you want to come in there anyway? In other words, she's belittling women's restrooms and really in an indirect way belittling women. Because, hey, who wants to come in a women's restroom anyway? It stinks. It's probably maxi pads and stuff strewed all over the place. Who wants to come in there anyway? In other words, I'm going to down women's restrooms to somehow in a subtle way justify biological men coming in the restrooms. But no, dear. It's not hateful. It's not hateful. But let's go on. She added, and that's how that whole bit started. I've always just been grossed out by bathrooms. We could argue, Miss Sykes, that both men and women kind of have been grossed out by bathrooms. Hey, look, I don't like going into nasty bathrooms either. Okay, I don't like doing it either. But I mean, what's that have to do with a biological man coming into a women's bathroom? The nastiness of that bathroom, what's that have to do with a biological male who believes he's a female going into, what does that have to do with anything? The point of that law, the way I see it and most thinking people sees it, the point of that law is to keep rapists and peeping toms from going into the bathroom. That's the point of that. Okay, has nothing to do with how clean the bathroom is. That's not even funny. That's stupid. I mean, I don't know who would laugh at that. It's still not clean anyway. Well, men could say the same thing about men's restrooms. A lot of the men's restrooms stink. Smell like doo-doo and booty and pee and everything else. Okay, so what are you even talking about? That's not even the point. She missing the point as far as I'm concerned. The point of the laws is to keep peeping toms and potential rapists from going in these restrooms. Because I've read that there have been stories where men have taken it, so-called transgender men have taken advantage of that very fact. But see, the mainstream media is not going to cover that. They're not going to tell you that side of the story. They're going to tell you this side of the story, that this foolish side of the story, that transgenders are victimized and they're oppressed, and we need to fight for their rights for biological men and biological women who want to be the other sex. We need to fight for their rights to do whatever they want to do, go wherever they want to go, say whatever they want to say. We need to fight for that. Come on, man. None of that makes any sense at all, except to say, here we go with another one of these useful idiots getting on public TV before millions of people and saying the nonsense that she's saying. She's controlled, she's manipulated, but let's go on. I'm going to get into the deeper details of that. Come on, man. It's nothing she's saying is making sense to me. She says, Sykes revealed she discarded some jokes from her special that might offend transgenders. In the trans area, I had to step some things back that might be misconstrued as me making fun instead of trying to help, she recalled. It was more about the laws making it a crime for parents to help. And this is the part that ticked me off, Another useful idiot she is. It was more about the laws making it a crime for parents to help their children who were having gender identity issues. I said to myself, you don't know what the F you're talking about. Shut up and let's just talk about the bathrooms. That's so funny, Miss Sykes. Ooh, that's funny. You are hilarious. That is so funny. I'm pretty sure when she said that on the Friday show, they had an audience view. They probably was laughing like a bunch of dumb robots. And nothing's funny about what she just said. I mean, first of all, she says it was more about the laws making it a crime for parents to help their children who are having gender identity issues. The parents' responsibility from a traditional point of view, and just from the idea of right and wrong, is to help their children correct bad behavior. That's part of their responsibility. You don't encourage children to do something that is unnatural. You just don't. Any parent that does that is a sick parent, and they need help. When laws are created to prevent parents from doing this to their children and encouraging this kind of behavior, good. I'm glad they create them kind of laws, because just like the progressive liberal Marxists create laws to protect these other people, transgenders and all the rest, it ought to be people in government creating laws that protect sensible-minded people. So, Miss Sykes, you're not funny to me, okay? She said audiences did laugh at the jokes. But then I was like, wait a minute. Why are you all laughing? What are you laughing about? Maybe because it was funny. When you made a transgender joke, it was funny. So, yeah, I'm quick to get rid of something if it doesn't feel right. Sykes also slammed fellow comedian Dave Chappelle for his refusal to cave to radical transgender activists who are pressuring Netflix to deplatform him for his transgender jokes. She slammed him for his refusal to cave in. Well, he's not. Here's the thing, Ms. Sykes, is that Dave Chappelle, even though he wouldn't be considered someone who's necessarily a conservative, Dave Chappelle was funny. He's a funny comedian. And though, I don't know at this point whether or not they have barred any of his programs. I haven't been watching Netflix because Netflix sucks at this point. I need to unsubscribe from them. But he's funny. People love him, and that's why they like to listen to him. He's funny. He's daring. People love him. And not only is he funny, but he's one of those comedians that he's funny, but he makes sense when he says something about jokes about transgenders. Look, man, I mean, at the end of the day, they're just jokes. I'm not finna go into a long, drawn-out commentary on comedians making jokes and stuff. I mean, look, I'm not finna go into all of that. It is what it is. So Dave Chappelle is loved and liked probably more than Sykes is. And to get mad at him for making these jokes, I'm wondering if she's getting paid a huge sum of money from the radicals behind the scenes that control and manipulate her career and making her a useful idiot. I'm wondering how much money they're giving her. Because you're not going to give me to believe you that up the up. You just so in love with transgenders. I don't believe that one bit. She says, I think what he said was so hurtful and damaging to the trans community, she told Variety. As Breitbart News reported, Sykes said in a separate interview with The Guardian that criticism of cancel culture is simply, quote, straight men pissed that they can't say things anymore. And that's the end of that crazy article that I had to stomach reading. But no, I don't think straight men are upset that they can't say anything anymore. I think that straight men and straight comedians are upset that they can't be comedians anymore. So they have to censor everything that they say, you know. And at one point in the history of comedy here in America, based on some of the information that I do know, comedy was more conservative, you know, because prior to the 50s and early on, even though America still has some terrible situations, most people at that time prior to the 50s had a general understanding of right and wrong. They still believed in right and wrong. They still believed in keeping the law. They still believed in God. And that was reflected in many of the things that they did throughout society, including comedy. So a lot of the comedy, although it came to at the edge, but it never went over the edge, because it was a reflection of the mostly conservative worldview and zeitgeist of the society at that time prior to the 50s. Okay. And so it was a reflection of that, you know, and, you know, but then afterwards, after the 50s came in, and then after that, the 60s, so-called counterculture revolution, where everything was being challenged, you started seeing a change in the forms of comedy. They became more daring. There was more cursing and so forth. And one could argue that, you know, hey, that was just a way to flip everything over its head and so forth. But I'm going to be honest with you. I thought Richard Pryor was funny. I thought Red Fox was funny. I thought Eddie Murphy was funny. These were some of the funniest comedians that I've seen. I thought Robin Williams was funny. These were some of the funniest comedians that I have heard of, you know, and have heard from. And I just felt like they were funny. And I think most Americans at the time and even now still consider them to be funny. But this whole idea of you know, Wanda Sykes saying that, you know, well, I think this idea of barring biological males from females, you know, female restrooms is stupid and hateful. Everything she said in that, what little I got out of the article, everything she said made no sense to me, really. She really didn't explain what hurtful and hateful really, in what way was it hurtful and hateful? Now, she may have said it in the full interview because the article only gives you a portion of what was being said. So I'm only commenting on what the article gave. I'm not commenting on her actual interview at Variety, the whole interview. The whole interview may have lasted half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour. So I can't give a commentary on the whole interview if it extended that long. I can only comment on the portion of information that I have in this article here. But I would be led to believe that she did not really explain what hurtful and hateful really is by lawmakers creating laws to prevent men from going in biological men going in women's restrooms. How is that hateful? It seems to me that based on the information that I have and the information that I read out of this article, there is no hatefulness in it. It's just common sense, and it's common sense protecting biological women from biological males that think in their own mind, their own twisted mind, own sick mind, that they're females. Because a lot of these men can and have used that as an excuse to spy on women. I mean, I could do that right now. I could say, you know what? I joked with one of my coworkers at my job. I said, well, you know what? I forget exactly what the scenario was, but I joked when I said, well, you know what? I might as well go ahead and act like I'm a man. I'm a female. I can do that. I can claim I'm a female and get whatever I need to get. I forget what the scenario was, but everybody started laughing and joking because they knew what I was saying was true. It was accurate. All I have to do is say, I'm a female. I believe that I'm a female. And I'm cool. That's all I have. See how retarded that is? And I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. All I have to do is say, I believe that I'm a female and I have a right to go in this restroom. Have all the body parts of a male. Broad shoulders, voice, everything, organs, you know what I'm talking about. And go in a female's restroom because I believe in my twisted, sick mind that I'm a female. It's just that easy. And guess how it got started? Under the Obama administration. He started this, but everybody ignored it because he's the first black president of the United States, and everybody's, woo-wee, how eloquent he speaks. And, oh, yeah, but Satan speaks eloquent too. The book of Revelation says that Satan is going to speak great blasphemous words, and he's going to be a great orator. He's going to be able to sway the masses, millions and millions of people all over this earth. He's going to be able to convince them that he's God. Just because somebody can speak smoothly doesn't mean what they're saying is right. But everybody ignored the fact that he was a black man. Yeah, everybody ignored what he was saying, and they jumped on the fact he was the first black president. But he was the one that started a lot of this radical transgender stuff, particularly when it came to the restrooms. So what she's saying makes no sense whatsoever. She did not explain in the information that she did not in any way explain, based on an article that I just read, what's so hateful and hurtful about biological men being barred from going in the restroom, female restrooms. None whatsoever. She's just another useful idiot who's told what to say. And if you don't say it, we're going to counsel you and we're going to take your money. That's all it is. She's just not another useful idiot, according to Lenin's projection, just a useful idiot that thinks she's doing something right when she's nothing but a robot controlled and manipulated by outside forces. That's all she is to me. And I believe I would be correct in saying a vast majority of other Americans. But what do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all and see you again.